All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. It's about 12:04 right now, and I want to definitely be respectful of all of your time. So thank you so much for joining us for day 3 of the Greene County Chamber of Commerce virtual series. We're going to be covering marketing now, and I'm your host, Jackie Greer, and on behalf of the Greene County Chamber of Commerce, we thank you for joining us. We also happen to be the ones actually hosting today's session with Marketing Now. I am the owner and president of Greer Marketing, and joining me, I have Valerie Duvall, who is our senior marketing manager. And so she's going to be also sharing some valuable information for you guys. I hope that you get a lot out of today's session. Some housekeeping that we're going to go over in the chat bubbles. If you have a question, just send it directly to me in the chat, and then when we get to a stopping point, I can answer those questions and Valerie can answer those questions. We really want this to be interactive, and so if you think there are no silly questions, I just always want to say that too. If there's a question that you have, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with telling you a little bit about who we are at Greer Marketing. And a little bit about what we do. And then we're not going to spend too much time on that, but I think it is important for you guys to get to know us a little bit. So our motto is your brand is our passion. We are the Lake Country's only full service marketing agency, and we do the majority of what we do, we keep in-house here. We serve others by telling their story. And we have over 30 years of combined experience. And in fact, we just expanded our team. And so that number probably is going to be a little bit more than 30 years now. So you'll get to learn a little bit about him here in just a second. We really pride ourselves in having exceptional client advocacy. So we really work for our clients and really trying to analyze the different opportunities that are out there and making sure that we bring everything to the table for our clients and then figuring out what's going to be the best situation for them and their unique needs for their business. We offer a holistic approach in everything that we do. We are always asking the question, if we do this on the website, how is this going to affect their social media presence? How is this going to affect their email marketing? What about an event? If we put out this message, there's always a cause and effect to everything. And so when we work with our clients, we are always looking from a very holistic approach. We have 4 full-time employees that are on our team. We have Caroline Garrison, who is away celebrating her honeymoon. She just got married this past weekend, but she is our social media and email marketing specialist. Everything that we do here at Greer Force, we offer a very team-oriented approach. We talk about every client. We talk about the pros, the cons, and we just feel like bringing all of our ideas to the table, and then the best ideas are the ones that our client really hears about. But we love getting around a table and collaborating with one another and talking about each client's unique needs. Valerie is we call her our public relations guru and specialist, crisis communication expert. She really focuses a lot on brand management, offers a lot of consulting as well. I started Greer Marketing 9 years ago. I spent a lot of time building websites, consulting, a lot of graphic designs as well. And then Mark is our newest team member. Let me make sure that you guys can see him there. There he is. So Mark is our newest team member. He is an amazing graphic designer, content developer. He just really has a gift for writing. So we are so excited to have him on our team as well. So that's who we are. And when you work with Greer Marketing, you're not just working with one individual, you're working with a team of experts. And so we just want to give you guys a general idea of some of the services that we provide to our clients. As Jackie just said, when you get us, you get a team, not just one person. And that's really what consulting is. It is hiring us to come in and be your in-house marketing team.
So that could look like, well, I'm a new business. What should my business name be? What should my logo look like? What colors should I use? How do I even start all this? Or where do I go? Or this is my budget that I have right now, and what can I do with that budget? And that is us coming around the table on a consistent basis, and us being really your think tank and bringing, as Jackie said, the best of the ideas. The cream rises to the top. And so that's us coming alongside of you and helping you grow in your business and finding out what those obstacles are and then how we can overcome those.
Yes, and the digital footprint that we always talk about is what does your online presence look like? You know, as far as it's not just your website, it's your social media. It is, we always talk about content marketing. You know, you don't always want to be throwing stuff at people. You want to be bringing value to them. And so social media, reputation management, do you have a review service in place? And so we oftentimes talk about how marketing is as a cake with multiple layers, and every single time you make a post on your social or you add a blog to your website, that's another layer to the cake. And so when someone is looking for you online, it's another little footprint. The search engines go, okay, they're looking for, let's just go with cake. They're looking for a bakery in Greensboro, Georgia. Well, this particular site over here talks about baking in Greensboro, Georgia on their social, on their website. This is the most relevant. So now that's going to be pushed up to the top. And so that digital footprint is so, so important.
And also partnered with consulting. What goes really well with it is public relations. So this is going to be the relationships that you establish and that you keep and you maintain with the media, with government officials, with community leaders. This is going to be taking your brand that you've worked so hard on and then protecting it. This is also going to be that crisis communications piece as well, getting information out to the community. And I want to go back to crisis communications because it's a perfect example of, we always talk to our clients about be prepared and be ready and having a chain of command and know what your messaging is and know who's going to speak and who's not going to speak. And people always say, well, I mean, we just kind of hope that nothing ever really happens. But you look at something like COVID-19, and that has been a crisis, and it was a crisis when businesses had to shut their doors. And so what's the message that's going out? Or one of your employees comes in and has COVID and doesn't know it and spreads it. Or this could be an allegation of sorts made towards your CEO or your CFO or even one of your top management. And so having someone who can step back from that and having a third party that's neutral who can advise you and guide you on the messaging and the decisions and who's going to speak, or even speaking on your company's behalf. Because a lot of times when there is a crisis, it involves a lot of maybe personal things that or allegations that may hit you in a personal way. And the first thing that you want to do is defend yourself. And so that's not necessarily, going back and forth online about something is not necessarily the best way to handle it. So having a team of professionals who can look at it from a factual standpoint and then create a message for you that can be disseminated, and then having someone who can answer those questions that are coming in from the community or government officials or from the media, whoever it may be. This is also going to be that relationship between your top management and your employees within an organization as well.
We do offer a lot of design services here at Greer Force Marketing. We have in-house graphic designers. We can help. We don't really promote ourselves as printers, but we do offer print services as well. It's just a little bit, gives us a little bit more flexibility to offer the printing ourselves. We are very competitive with our print pricing, but we can help from anywhere from logo designs to brand guides. Brand guides are so important because it's basically the Bible of your logo, the do's and don'ts of what it is that people can do with your logos, the colors. We help with print and digital ads as well. Any kind of motion graphics. I know a lot of times you've seen on social media, how you have those fun graphics that are flowing in and out and fading in and out. We can create those for you. And then, of course, any kind of collateral that you might need for your business, as far as rack cards or even signage inside of your office. Really anything. If there's anything graphic related, we can work with you and help come up with a solution for you. And then as far as production goes, we do offer audio and visual production. We do bring in videographers for this, but we offer script writing, we direct and produce, we can book talent for you, we can come up with the concept for you. So really, essentially, it is a one-stop shop here at Greer Force Marketing. And so if throughout our discussion today, if you have any further questions or you find yourself that, you know, I don't think I want to tackle this part alone, feel free to reach out to us. We would love the opportunity to sit with you and meet with you and talk a little bit more about how some of these services could benefit your business. So we'll just go ahead and move into our topic for today. I love this visual here. Come on in. We're awesome. I think that right now with COVID-19, things are getting better for sure, but I think that people were paralyzed for a minute. No one really knew exactly what to do. And so it's easy to think, okay, revenue is stopping or revenue is slowing down. I've got to cut my advertising, or we got to save. You know, you kind of go into that defense mode, right? And so this is a very well-known quote here. When times are good, you should advertise. When times are bad, you must advertise. And so this is a statistic that I came across, and I thought that it was so interesting. A series of 6 studies conducted by the research firm Meldrum and Fusness showed conclusively that advertising aggressively during recessions not only increases sales, but increases profits. This fact has held true for all post-war World War II recessions studied by American Business Press starting in 1949. It doesn't say that this fact has held true for some post-World War II recessions. It says that this study has held true for all post-World War II recessions. And so that is a very, very strong fact. And so what that tells us is that when times get hard, we need to buckle down and we need to be even more aggressive with our marketing efforts. And so I love this image too, because, you know, depending on who you're talking to, you might look at that mountain as a huge obstacle. You might look at it as very hopeless, but at the same time, I look at that because there's a beautiful sunrise going on in the background. You have this beautiful lake. And so I look at this as an awesome, awesome opportunity. And so we don't need to look at this time as COVID as a doom and gloom period. We need to look at this as an incredible opportunity to increase sales and awareness and gain market share. Because if your competitors are saying, you know what, we're going to hold back right now, and you make the decision that I'm going to push forward, then you are going to be catapulted when we come out of this, and we will come out of this. I think we're seeing that already, that things are getting better. We're starting to see a good positive flow of business, and so I think we're going to continue to see that. So let's talk about how the conversation has shifted. So at one time, you had one option, and it was, okay, you could put it out on print, newspapers, maybe you ran an ad, maybe you put an ad in a magazine. This form of marketing is not bad. It's still a great option, but it is a very look at me kind of style of marketing. It's very one-sided. It's not a conversation. And now we have so many more options. We've got unlimited options. We've got, social media, you have blogs, you have radio, you have TV. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can promote yourself now. But I think one of the things that has really changed is this option of becoming friends, making it a two-way street, it being more interactive. And so I'm going to share with you guys a little video here, and I hope that you can hear it and see it okay, because I think it is a great example of how we have gone from look at me to let's be friends. Okay, so we don't want to be the guy that's all about me, right? I think sometimes, you know, we see it in different social media marketing from different companies where it is all about me. And I think everyone is always asking the question, well, what's in it for me, right? Your customers, they want to know about you, but they also want to know about how you can benefit them or how your product or service can enhance their life and the best way. And so let's talk a little bit about how we need to appeal to the current market mindset. I think that, you know, like I mentioned before, when COVID came along, a lot of businesses just became paralyzed, right? They didn't know what to do, and they had to quickly shift how they were doing business, because some businesses went from literally having some of the best months that they've ever had because our economy was doing so well to making $0. And that is, as a business owner, I know we could all relate that's a terrifying thought, you know, to think that everything that you've worked so hard for could just be over. And so one of the things that I think, one of the businesses that I know of here locally, and I'll just tell you guys, it's the Iron Fork Cafe with, oh goodness.
Chris and Katie.
Thank you, Chris and Katie Bragg. Sorry, Chris and Katie Bragg. I love them dearly. But Iron Fork Cafe did a tremendous job with this. They did not waste a lot of time. They immediately decided, hey, you know what? We've got followers that are on social media. We're going to utilize social media to promote to-go family meals. And they immediately shifted and seized the opportunity to kind of adapt to their current market and the mindset of their target market, because people were afraid to go out. They weren't going to go and dine. They wanted to be able to go quickly order, pick up, and be on their way. And so they did a wonderful job of meeting customers where they are. So I think, you know, your customers are online. There's a great statistic that I came across too that said 69% of people search for local businesses at least one time per month, according to Bright Local's local customer reviews survey. You know, I think if you're not online, you're not in business, especially right now in this climate. You have to have online presence. And so that means have your home base, have your website, get on those social networks, invest in time in a blog. You need to be making sure that you're online. Another business that we work with, I remember when all of this started, a year ago, she didn't have a website. She wasn't on any kind of social media, maybe even 2 years ago. She didn't have any of that in place. And it was one of those things that she said, I know I need to do it. I know it's important. I just don't know how I'm going to get it all done. You know, I'm so busy. I haven't had time. And she came to us and she said, thank you, thank you, thank you for making sure that I was positioned well online and through social, because even though her business experienced a pretty hard hit during this time, she still was able to move products. She was still able to communicate with her customers because she did have an online presence. And I think, again, like I said, right now, you just cannot afford not to have that online presence. So 3 things that I wanted to share with you guys as far as appealing to your current market mindset is have that website. Make sure that your website is responsive. And so what that means is everyone probably has one of these little things in their pocket, right? Or they're viewing this webinar on a computer screen. And so when you have a responsive website, that means that it's going to format automatically on whatever device it is that you're looking at. So we've all seen it to where you have your phone and you have to zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, and then you have to slide over to read what it is that you're trying to read. Well, that lets you know that that website is not a responsive website. A fully responsive website is going to give you the ability to format automatically for the best viewing on whatever device. And so that's very, very important. The second thing that you want to make sure that you are doing is that you are on your social media networks. So many times we say, oh, are you on social media? And people will say, we're on Facebook. And yes, Facebook is one of the social media giants in the universe, and we love Facebook, and it is a wonderful, wonderful platform. But don't get so settled in just Facebook. We joke a lot in the office. I'm a Facebooker. Valerie is a TikToker, Instagrammer, okay? Caroline is an Instagrammer. Mark, he's more on Facebook as well. And so there's other, there are other networks out there that people use, even Twitter. Twitter is a very fast-paced conversation. And so there is a specific market for each one of these. And if you're only investing in one of those markets, then you're missing out on other pieces of the pie. So make sure that you're on your social networks. And the third thing is that you want to make sure that you check your business listings. So Google My Business, Yelp, there are tons of business listings out there. So make sure, Google yourself, see where it is that you fall and what directories come up, and make sure that the information that's listed there is correct. Your address is correct, your website is correct. If you need help doing this, that's something that we can assist you with. But the first thing is making the step of finding out where it is that you stand and what does your digital presence really look like. So, and then think about this too. Content is king. We talk about that whole look at me mentality. You want to make sure that when you're posting on your social networks, that you're providing good, valuable information. You want your customers to look at you as the resource and as the expert in your industry. Okay, so that means that you have to provide them with value and that you're not always just trying to make a sale. Okay, that 20-80% rule, 20% is a hard sell, 80% is that you want to be giving value, giving value, giving value. So always think about it from that perspective. So number 2, take advantage of your position.
So as Jackie just said, this is really about bringing value. So in times like this, especially when everything shut down, the first thing that a lot of people did, business owners, was they drew back. They retreated. They stopped everything with what they were doing. Now is the time that you should be leaning in to what you know and how you can use what you know. And one of the things that I do know is that small business owners and even nonprofit stakeholders are some of the most resourceful and resilient people that I know. So now is the time to lean into that resourcefulness, make a plan, get to work. And really, it's all about tooting your own horn right now. If you don't toot your horn, nobody else will. So really, this is also about staying top of mind. So staying top of mind is the cornerstone of nearly all marketing efforts, and it's key. So some people may need to get the word out about special hours or special services or services that are no longer available or something new that you're doing. Sometimes it's just as simple as updating closures or office hours or whatever, however you're changing the way that you're doing business. So what might be key here is to take stock of what you need to say, along with what, if possible, where you can take what your assets and your knowledge, even your people capital, and knowing what you do, what you offer, what makes you unique, and to see if there's a way that you can use all of that to stay top of mind, and also maybe even doing greater good work. I think of Dyson. When somebody says Dyson, you probably think of a vacuum. But you look at the way that Dyson really took advantage of their position in the marketplace, and they came out with the Dyson ventilator. And it might not necessarily be that you're doing something where you're a coffee shop and then you're going to make a ventilator, but you can take the expert information that you know, that you've worked your whole entire life building and going through trainings, and you can take that information and you can help your customers or even other business owners by getting together and taking advantage of what you know and your position in the marketplace. And I think what's also important to note here is that as small businesses, especially here in Georgia's Lake Country, you have a huge advantage over other big businesses and corporations because you actually know your customers. Many times you interact with them in a way that big businesses cannot. You think about people when you talk to them when they come into your shop, oh, we just got married, we're going on our honeymoon, or so my mother-in-law's having surgery. And then when they come back in, you are constantly having that same conversation and updating each other, and you're building a relationship, and big corporations can't do that. So it's that intimate knowledge that can keep your business top of mind and give you an edge. This is also true on the social media platforms. When you are friends with someone and you're sharing business knowledge and they have a need that comes up, they want to see you, they want to hear from you, and they're going to think about you first when they're thinking of what is that solution. So, and ultimately we're talking about engaging with people. The location of doing business may have changed to a digital format, but at the end of any device is a person, and people want to do business with the people that they know, they like, and they trust. So with this, you know, I really look at Greer marketing and our consulting services, and people saying, we're in the middle of a pandemic. What do I do? Or, okay, here's what I do know. What can I do with it? And so that's where we can help. We can come in and say, well, have you ever thought about this? Or let's take this information or this knowledge or this resource that you have, and let's repurpose it and let's pivot. And I think in COVID, the businesses that have been able to pivot and innovate are the ones that have really soared. And the businesses that shut down and said, I'm just going to wait this out, and I'm just going to continue to do business as I've always done it when things get back better, they're the ones that have suffered the most during this. It's so important to innovate and to position yourself as an expert, as a resource. And this also goes to content marketing. You don't always have to be selling or promoting yourself, your store, or a product. People want to see engaging content. They want to see funny content. They want to see the people behind the screen, behind the website, behind the phone calls. They want to see your dogs on National Dog Day, which is today, by the way. But they want to connect with you. And so with the consulting piece, whether it's us or someone else, you know, lean in on your resources and lean in on the people that are experts that can look at things with fresh eyes and come to the table with some new ideas for you. Always be innovating, always be pivoting, and always be looking at what you can change to do better, not necessarily what's worked well and we're just going to keep doing that, because I think that can be a huge hindrance at times. So with that, we'll move on to number 3.
So marketing is an investment. It's an investment of time, it's an investment of energy, and sometimes it's an investment of resources as well. And so we've all heard that cliche saying, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got, right? And so that's so true. It is so true with marketing. And so I know right now can be a very scary time to try something new, but again, if you're doing the same thing and expecting different results, that's the definition of insanity, right? So we want to make sure that you know, you're looking at different opportunities. Sometimes I think about Genuine Georgia, and Maggie Lane is another one that has done a really great job during this time. You know, it was completely out of their comfort zone to do a Facebook Live event, or, you know, to promote their products and wares online. But that was something that was an investment of their time. It was an investment of their energy. It didn't really cost them anything to do that, but it did cost them some time and some energy to learn something new. And so take advantage of the tools and the resources that are out there for you. You know, sometimes it is that you're going to run a paid ad. We love social media advertising. It is one of the most inexpensive forms of advertising that yield the highest return on investment. We have another client that has been doing other forms of advertising for several years, and just recently they started doing some social media advertising, and they were blown away because of the amount of money that they were actually, I mean, I think this particular client was putting $100 a month for $100 a month, and they had 15 leads qualified leads that were sitting there waiting for them. And they couldn't believe it. And so now, I mean, they're like, okay, this is working. We're going to do it. So don't be afraid of making that investment of time and energy and resources, because a lot of times, especially if you go in through digital advertising, you're going to be able to see that. You're going to be able to get that detailed reporting. That's one of the things too. If you are working with someone that is doing social media management for you, or placing ads for you, and you're not getting any kind of detailed reporting or detailed analytics, then you need to be asking for that, okay? Because it is available if you're using the proper tools. And so that's very, very important, because you're not going to know how something is working for you if you're not analyzing the reports after the fact. And so another thing, you can do this yourself, but again, like Valerie mentioned, I mean, we do offer social media management as well. So we can coach you along, or we can do it for you. And with that, I think that this transitions well into thinking outside of the box.
So now is the time to go for whatever crazy idea that you have. If it sounds crazy, now is the time to do it. It's a great idea, I promise you. And I want to give you a perfect example of this. You may or may have not seen this, but there's a California-based animal sanctuary called Sweet Farms. So they got part of their funding from people who were coming to in-person visits to their farm. Well, when COVID hit and everything shut down and they were forced to shelter in place, they got together with their marketing team and said, what are we going to do to recoup all this money? And so what they came up with is goat to meetings, where you can pay to have one of their goats or one of their other animals come onto your Zoom calls during a corporate meeting with your team to just break up the monotony of these constant Zoom calls. And it's gotten so popular that they are doing different interactive tours on the farm during these Zoom calls. In the middle of a Zoom call, all of a sudden you just see a goat. And then you see a farmer and they're taking you around the farm there, Sweet Farms. And then they also have the different packages that they're now coming up with, where you can have these VIP experiences, and they're getting up to $750 in donation per session to recoup some of that money that they lost from people coming to the farm. This is also a time, even going back to being a resource and being a leader in the industry, taking what you know and what you have and repurposing it for the right now. I'm going to give you some examples of this too, because I love just real life examples. So there's some 3D printing companies in Boston, like Mark Forged and Formlabs. And so they are now using their 3D printers because the business is not there as what it used to be in their regular industry. So now they're using their 3D printers to do personal protective equipment like face shields. And they're also doing nasal swabs that are being used in the COVID-19 testing. You think about people like Netflix. I mean, you think, well, Netflix actually probably boomed, but they didn't say we're going to continue doing business the way that we've always done business. We're going to have Netflix Party, where you can watch movies or TV shows with your friends or your family wherever, and y'all can be in different locations in your homes. And it has a group chat feature where you can react to the movie, you can react to scenes that are going on, and you can have discussions during the movie. So it's like everybody's there in the room together for a big movie night. So Netflix, even though everything was great for them, they still innovated and they still thought outside of the box and, okay, what can we do? I even think about a taxi company in the city. I mean, business just stopped for them. So, and they had the vehicles, they had the capital, and they knew the streets. So they became a delivery service for medicines or for groceries, whatever people needed them to do, they turned into a concierge service. And so they just reinvented themselves. So it's really the time to think outside of the box and go for those crazy ideas or things that, I think this might work, or I've kind of dipped my toe in this before. Now's the time to do it. And then when you do it, then talk about it. Talk about it on your email marketing campaigns, through your social media marketing, your website. I mean, anything and everything that's out there that's available to you for free. You want to make sure that you're putting all of this information out about how you're reinventing yourself during these times. So I really want to encourage you to think outside the box and brainstorm with your team, and just know that every idea, when it comes out, it may be a little crazy, but really chew on it, and with your team brainstorm. That's something we can do with you as well in our consulting meetings, is come around the table together and really just start talking about what it is that we can do, or new lines of business, or different ways of doing things for you, just to help increase business, whatever your goal is, really, whether it's revenue or traffic or engagement. We can help you come up with those goals and what they need to be.
Valerie, I even think about how running your business more efficiently, thinking outside of the box. You know, we, for those of you guys that were on the call yesterday with Shelly Massey with A Superior Contact Center in Madison, you know, during COVID, when everything first started, we shut our office and we were all working from home. And so there was no one here to answer the phone. And so we started thinking, okay, we need to be utilizing A Superior Contact Center service to where they can answer the phone for us. And, you know, had it not been for COVID-19 hitting, we probably still would not be using A Superior Contact Services. But we didn't cancel when we came back to the office, because we found that it was an asset towards us. It helped us run our business even more efficiently, because now we had someone to answer our calls for us when we were sitting down in a meeting with a client. And so I think, you know, looking for those opportunities, same thing with Chris and Katie, they shifted, they thought outside of the box, but, you know, now they are not, their dining room is now open, but they are still offering those packaged family meals that they came up with as a result of this pandemic. And so, you know, I think that we are seeing some very positive things coming out of this, and shifting how we're doing business. And so take advantage of those think outside of the box moments, and let them work for you. And just because you're using them for a limited amount of time doesn't mean that you have to stop using them when business goes back to normal. So that's awesome information. Thank you, Valerie. So number 5, have a strategy and be consistent. Don't let up. You know, I think one of the biggest mistakes that we see businesses doing is that when they come to us, they say, oh, well, we're running this promotion, and we're doing this, and we're running this ad, and over here it says XYZ, and over here we're gonna, and there's no cohesiveness. Remember when I first started, we were talking about having a holistic approach. How does this over here that we're doing, how does it work with this over here? And so make sure that whatever your strategy is, that you're keeping it simple and consistent. If you're running a sale for the month of November, and it's a holiday driven sale, then you hammer that sale away. Okay, so that means that in your social media, you are talking about that sale. In your email marketing, you're talking about that sale. On the homepage of your website, that sale has a prominent position. Okay, maybe it's an event. Maybe you're hosting an event of some kind, and you're having open registration. You know, that you want to make sure that across all of your channels that the conversation is the same. Okay, you want to utilize your social media to have fun and engaging content, but you still have that. Remember, we talked about that 20% hard sell. Whatever that strategy is, that's what you want to be pushing for, that 20%. Okay, and being consistent with that message. Another thing that you know, during this time, again, we talked about people saying, oh, revenue is down, so I need to pull back. Again, don't let up. This is not the time to let up. Okay, if you have been sending out a monthly newsletter, and you have a target market that has been expecting that monthly newsletter from you every single month, and then all of a sudden you fall off the face of the earth and they don't hear from you, what does that message say? What does that say to your target market that you have been investing in and communicating with and building a relationship with? Does it say that you went out of business? Does it say that you no longer care about them? And so you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that this is not the time that you let up. You continue to push forward. Same thing with your social media. If people are used to seeing your content and they're engaging with you, and then all of a sudden you fall off the face of the earth and you no longer invest in that social media, what does that message say? And so you always have to think that everything that you do, even if you do nothing, it says something. Okay, so you want to be able to control what that narrative is and what the conversation around your business is about. So make sure that you have that strategy and that you're consistent with what you're putting out there.
And number 6, so focus on quality, not quantity. And I think people get so overwhelmed at everything that's out there and that's available to you. You think about text marketing, email marketing, social media marketing. You just think about everything and anything that's out there and how people are, businesses are trying to get you to come in or to use their services. And so a lot of times people will get so overwhelmed and they'll just say, okay, I'm going to do everything that I can, but they're not doing it well, and they're doing it about 30%. So instead of the quantity of things, focus on a few things to implement and do them not only well, but very well. And a perfect example of this is if you are running print advertising, it would be great to say, okay, who's my buying persona? Where are they? What publication are they looking at? And then buying or investing in a full page, beautiful color ad that's going to hit your target audience versus buying 100 different little tiny business card size or smaller ads and putting them all over the place in places that may not even necessarily be your target audience or someone who would use your service. And so making sure that whatever you are doing, that you're doing it very well. And this is also very true for newsletters. So when you have newsletters that you're doing, a lot of people will say, well, we just don't have that much stuff to put on there. Well, be a resource, have quality so that when people get your newsletters every month or every other week or however often you're doing them, that they look forward to receiving them, and they always know that when they open it up, there's going to be something in there that matters to them. Lake Oconee Eye Care is a great example of that. They always have consistent quality blog information in there about articles relating to how to do your makeup if you're a glasses wearer, or why not to use colored contact lenses during Halloween and the dangers of that. Or it could be anything as far as allergy season and what you can inspect and how allergies affect the eyes. They always have quality information in there that is valuable to the reader. They're not always trying to sell you something. And so always think about what's in it for the end user and really focus on quality and not quantity. And if you don't have, it's even like a webinar that we're doing, if you've got 10 minutes of impactful and meaty content, then do that. Don't fill an hour worth of just words and verbiage just to fill space. Give the people what they want. And really it's all about quality and not quantity. Quantity is almost never good. So when you're looking at things, think about honing in really on what it is that you can do that's going to make the biggest impact and give you the biggest bang for your buck and is going to be the most valuable to the end user.
Awesome. So that is what we have for you guys today. I hope that you found a lot of this information valuable. At this time, we'd like to open up the floor for some questions. And so I will give you guys a few minutes if you have any questions that you'd like to ask. We'd love to answer questions for you.
And while we're waiting for questions, I just want to share a fun fact too that came across my inbox the other day, and it was referring to email marketing, and it was talking about just the impact of a welcome email to people who are signing up to get your newsletter. And it says that welcome emails are incredibly effective, that on average 320% more revenue is attributed to them on a per email basis than other promotional emails. So just keep that in mind too, if you are interested or if you are doing email marketing, that you have a welcome email in place, whether it is just thanking them for the interest and for joining your community, or whether it also has a 10% off coupon in there, or whatever it may be. That people love getting those, and the stats are there. This came from WordStream, if you're familiar with them. But just making sure that whatever you're doing, that you're doing very well, and you're looking at, okay, if I'm doing email marketing, then what all can I do with it? And that includes building out landing pages for special events that you may be having, but just looking at one thing that you're doing and saying, how can I stretch this out to the left and to the right? And how can I use this from 0 to 110% all the way? You know, how can I utilize this tool for everything that I can think of? I thought that was a fun fact.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, well, it does not appear that we have any questions. I did have a couple of comments here. Great presentation, a lot to think about. And so I'm glad that you guys are taking away some valuable information. That's what we wanted for you, to be able to lead this presentation and give you a lot to think about, and how you can apply some of this to your business. And so again, here's our contact information. The 706-999-0185 is our office line, or you can email us anytime at info@greerforce.com. Definitely encourage you guys to follow us on social media. We are on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and LinkedIn. And am I missing anything, Valerie?
I don't think so.
I think that's all. And so we encourage you to follow us. If we can ever be any assistance to you and your business, please reach out to us. And so we're going to continue our series tomorrow, same time. We'll be here at noon. I will email out the link for the Zoom session. We are going to be with Susan Powers of Asset Grade, and she's going to be sharing the disconnect between the stock market and the economy during COVID-19. And so she is just a valuable well of information. She is so smart and so good at what she does. And so I definitely encourage you guys to be here and what she has to say on this topic. On behalf of the Greene County Chamber of Commerce, again, I thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your time. All right, have a great day, everyone. Thank you.